My name is Zephaniah Moore. I am from Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada. I am a professional basketball trainer, kind of all over the Midwest, from Kansas down to Texas. But I spend most of my time in Oklahoma City, where my wife and I reside. We moved here about 4.5 years ago and been rolling ever since. I think, stereotype, I think people consider it like small town basketball until they try and play here or get played by Oklahoma City. I think they see teams, they see that little OK next to an AAU team or a city team going down to play in Duncanville or across the nation. Everybody thinks like, I don't know, because it's a little Midwest city. But if I had to pick a word to describe it, I'd probably pick two. I would say undervalued and evolving are probably the two words I would use. Under-recruited and unrecognized talent. I think it's still a very untapped gold mine. Like the kids that actually are fortunate enough to be seen and go play from this area are phenomenal. The problem is, like, even local schools don't really have a super hyper joy of recruiting locally. So I think it's an untapped resource, and another word I would probably, or phrase I would use, as I said kind of before, is the evolution here in terms of how kids are training, how kids are playing, how teams are playing. It's moving so quickly. I mean, for me only being here for 4 years, to see the adaptation of style, pace, training scenarios, the movement of kids, both physiologically and on the court, and all that jazz. I think it's moving a lot faster than people recognize, especially in this whole Midwest region. I think there's a pride in knowing, kind of what I was saying in the context of, I think they know that it's a little bit undervalued, and it's developed this sense of like integrated community. I mean, for me, not even being from here, and in 4 years, being able to meet the people I've met and be involved in a community the way that I have been, it's a testament to how willing people are to just involve people that are willing to invest in what's going on here. And that's been the biggest blessing for me. I think basketball here as a whole is such a community, for better and for worse. I mean, there's a lot of competition because people love to stay and grind in this area. But at the end of the day, everybody's willing and ready to just kind of keep pushing the crowd forward in Oklahoma. It's not like people are really trying to like extend the olive branch and go to different places. Like, they want to see and cultivate what's going on here, and I love that about this place. I'd always loved basketball and studied basketball, but the pace at which it's growing here has challenged me as a trainer and someone in that community to continue to get better so much more diligently than I think I have in a very long time. Like, in the way I study, the way I watch kids develop and play, the way I challenge people around me, it's this continuous motion. There's nothing stagnant about what's going on right now. So I think, one, it's just touched me in that factor, in the sense of being really, really challenged to continue to get better in all facets of what I do. And then two, people love seeing Oklahoma kids succeed. Even if at the time everybody's like, man, they've competed against each other, whatever the case may be, whatever stage they're on, wherever they go, as soon as it's that Oklahoma kid doing his thing, everybody is ecstatic, and that's so powerful to be around. Because maybe in the moment people wish they could be or should be in that scenario, but at the end of the day, the fact that they're representing the face of what's going on here is what gets people really excited. The appreciation for basketball kind of continues to develop here. There's a lot of people that are looked up to in the city from Oklahoma specifically that I think maybe several years ago people didn't even necessarily know about, or because they had left and played elsewhere, now they're back. Like, whether it be pro-am leagues like Skins, whether it be just pro runs here and guys that stay locally throughout the summer, it's as things progress, there's so much to look forward to in the direction that Oklahoma basketball is going. And with that said, I think youth in general, as the culture grows, it's like there's more kids that want to play basketball now, which is like that's the best thing in the world. Like, to me, it's the best sport of all time in terms of revealing who you are as a human being, both on and off the floor. And the fact that youth see these kids that they know and have shaken hands with and physically been in the gym with go play on TV, on ESPN Plus, or in the NBA and all this. It's like there's this gravity towards like, man, I want to develop into that and what they've done. And I think there's a lot of inspirational factor going on in Oklahoma right now. Yeah, in my eyes, where Oklahoma basketball is currently at, there's like an old analogy in the context of like watering the bamboo. When you plant like a bamboo shoot or a bamboo tree, as you water it and you continue to take care of it, it actually doesn't grow for a very prolonged period of time. But when it does, it's like 30 feet instantly. And I think Oklahoma is again, as I said, it's being watered. Like, there's a lot of things trending in the right direction. There's a lot of really good talent, and all of a sudden I think they're on the verge of that breakthrough in terms of players and respect nationally, really realizing like that there's something very special in terms of the development of the players, the direction of the game as a whole here, and the power in which Oklahoma has been able to influence the national basketball scene is such like what some would consider a small market situation. They're very much so in the breakthrough stage. I think they're on the up and up in the curve, and there's lots of room to go. Oklahoma basketball is heading to, I'm trying to think of the good word. Surprise. I think there's a lot of people still that haven't been put on notice. There's like inklings of people realizing that there's players popping up in the nation playing at certain schools or certain places after high school here, and they'll be like, oh, where are they from? You hear Oklahoma, and it's kind of like that side eye. But I think it's getting to a point where it's becoming more regular. Like on the NAIBC stage, in high school, whether it be Division I stage, Division II stage, there's a lot of guys doing so well, even NBA stage and beyond. Like there's people locally here that are all of a sudden recognized, like, oh, he's from Oklahoma too? Like I think that's like the quote, like, oh, he's also from Oklahoma, question mark. I think there's this stigma that like because it's this small town spot that the pool of talent is so small, and I think it's heading to a place where people are realizing I think the pool of talent is less important than how the talent is not only discovered but developed in that specific area. If you really wanted to be a part of the Oklahoma basketball community, you want to sell that framework. I think that the first thing to sell is an understanding of what you're getting involved in. People are excited about what's going on here. So if you get here and you begin to develop and you begin to succeed, people will get excited about you everywhere. And the beauty and the struggle in that is if you come here expecting that recognition, you won't get it without the work. But the problem is Oklahoma's figuring out how to work. That's what's exciting. They're figuring out, as I said, the developmental factor and the hustle behind what it really takes. And where some of these bigger city places have been in terms of just so many powerful pools of talent and so many great trainers and coaches and programs, it's like now we're in a position where we have no excuse. Like everybody's been able to kind of cultivate their own genre, cultivate how they do it and what they do well. So when kids come in, they find resources and they get plugged in. If they're willing to put in the work, they will get recognized because of how not only tight-knit the community is here, but how willing coaches are to reach out to other people, knowing how everybody's been around for so long and is excited about the development of what's going on here.